Give it a minute.
We're on TV.
Yes.
I mean, as the kids call it TV today, it's YouTube, but you know.
Yeah.
Right.
This is your 7 minutes of fame, David. All right. We're going to call the Arts and Public Places Commission meeting to order. June 30th. I know some of you just got the minutes, so take a moment if you need to read through them before we approve.
And Genevieve, looks like Brian Callahan has just joined as well.
Fabulous.
Welcome to the party.
Yep.
Hey, everybody.
Hey, Brian.
Brian.
Hey there.
At the beach, and I almost forgot about the
Well, we're glad you could join.
Are we good? Can I make a motion to approve the minutes?
Yes, you can.
A second.
Yeah, I'll second that.
Fabulous. All those in favor, please do a roll call and say your name.
Elizabeth Ramirez, yes.
Krista Rich, yes.
David Arthur, yes.
Joe Lucchese, yes.
Irma O'Neill, yes.
I can't approve the minutes because I don't have a copy of them. So without having a copy, I'm going to pass.
Genevieve Torrey, I approve, yes. Okay, we'll move on to old minutes, old business, minutes. Everything's about minutes. Bike racks on West Street. We discussed this previously about Eric Evans was donating some bike racks into the Arts District, and there's a few going to the Stanton Center as well, and the Boys and Girls Club. But the city would like Arts and Public Places to approve of them since they're going on city property and will be actually art acquired by the city. So we will have to maintain, well, the city will have to maintain them. Ashley, did you get an agreement with Eric drafted?
Not as of yet. I've reached out to him, but I will follow up.
Okay. I'm trying to put the pictures together here so I can share my screen and show you what they are. Okay, so the red to the left is the guitar that will be displayed. And then hold on a second.
That's a guitar?
Yeah, yes, that's what I was told it is.
Okay.
Oh, okay. It's like, what am I looking at?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hold on a second.
This question too.
Okay. I love modern technology. Alexa was playing some background music for us. So the red is a guitar. The blue sculpture in the middle is blue angels. It's supposed to depict the blue angels as they fly. And can you see the fish? Let's see.
Is photo full? Is that 100%? It's kind of hard to tell what anything is.
Yeah.
I can send him out as well, but since he doesn't, so we were supposed to vote to get these installed because the city's ready to vote on them. But since he hasn't finished the agreement either, then I'm not even sure. Ashley, should we even vote?
I mean, it would be nice to see what they look like for real, though, other than the pieces of.
In person?
Well, even no, I mean, like a better
Or is it
picture.
storage?
Are they with storage?
Yeah.
Oh.
Let's see.
Genevieve, because I'm on phone, I can't actually see them, so I would actually like to see them before I could vote on them.
Yeah,
That's okay.
They're nice pieces, but I think because the agreement isn't even finalized, that we will just unfortunately have to hold off and they'll have to reschedule.
Okay.
So I'll send them out by email. Is email best for the files, or can you guys all access Google Docs?
I would probably just, since apparently some people are having issues with Google Docs, I would send the email. I mean,
Okay.
send the files out. Just because like Google Docs can be weird. I'm saying if you don't have an account, or it just gets weird.
Yeah, it is, and it's hard to access. Okay, well, we'll move on then. We'll hold off on the vote on that until the agreement is final, and then in the meantime, I'll send the pictures out.
Cool.
Summer concert series, there still officially is no group gathering due to COVID-19. So I would like to recommend that July's events are canceled, and it's open for discussion. If anybody has any objections, feel free to say so, but otherwise I don't feel comfortable holding these events.
Could I make a suggestion? I know that when the May and June events were canceled and we voted to donate money to creating communities in AMFM, could we possibly consider doing a portion of what we would be paying the artists directly to the artists that we had booked, or if we didn't have anybody booked already, artists that have been booked in the past that have done a great job for us, just directly to the artists versus.
So you bring up something that Ashley and I just had a conversation the other day about. So in our code, it basically states that our money is given to local artists, basically to.
Hold on, I'll pull up the code section.
Okay, yeah, but essentially it's to create art. So since we're just paying them and they're not actually creating the art, we're like giving them it gets a little wishy-washy with the code. So I would love to, but I don't think our code's gonna allow us to. So with creating communities, we're able to give the donation directly from AIPPC according to city code because these children are creating art with our donation during their summer programming. AMFM, and it was something that I was going to touch later, but we'll just go ahead and discuss it. AMFM's check is going to come from our ACF funds, our Annapolis Community Foundation funds, because of the fact that it wasn't within the code for us.
Okay, so I can just jump in real quick.
Okay.
So it's section 6.24.020A, if anyone cares. But it says there's established a fund for the purpose of collecting and retaining funds from public and private sources for the display, of art in public places in the city of Annapolis for the production of performing arts and for the advancement of works of art in general. So you have to hit one of those three things. That's for the display of art, for the production of performing arts, or for the advancement of works of art in general. And that last one is broad, but it still envisions some sort of work of art being created or advanced or otherwise helped.
So this is Krista. I have locally here, some of the restaurants are starting to open up with offering one night for a couple hours or one afternoon for a couple hours of singers to perform their music. And I'm pretty sure the restaurants are paying them. I don't know if there's any funding for that. But if we were, Brian, maybe you can speak to this. I know the musicians are in need of performance and funding and all that. So my question is, if they are creating new music and they're writing new songs as opposed to doing covers, would there be some sort of way to support them through maybe having some monies that are available for them to perform at a restaurant or down, and not with our July programs and our City Dock programs, but to have a fund that maybe these artists could, as long as they found a place where they would be able to perform, they could then be funded. Does that make sense?
From a legal perspective, I think that would work.
Like have it be they would be performing their own music, because it's created, it's their creative music. I don't know. That's my thought. I mean, I don't know how that would work with covers, because a lot of times people want to request a cover or something like that while they're performing. But at any rate.
That's my question, because this is David. My question is, like, did they have to play all like original music? If they threw a cover in there, would that throw everything out of whack, or how would,
No, because one of the things you can do is, in addition to creating artwork, is also performing. Yeah. So a cover would be fine if they're still performing some sort of work of art.
Right. Okay.
So in other words, what this would be is a way to encourage the restaurants in the area that maybe do not have available funds. But we could, I don't know how we would work it out. Maybe we'd have to have a sub meeting for that. But I would say that would be something I would be interested in saying yes to give some money towards some of the musicians that have been giving us music, all of these years. And right now, due to COVID, have, been having to do online performances, which have been wonderful. But I think this would be a nice way to support them.
Yep, it could be an opportunity to reappropriate those funds to them if they are now performing. The bands that we had scheduled, if they're performing somewhere else, maybe we can do some sort of agreement where we pay, what their gig fee is for the night. Or there are some other possibilities, with like having a virtual concert by them on our Facebook page instead and paying them to do so. So
that's a great idea also. That's a real good idea also. Mm-hmm.
And also as far as salsas and tangos, we're not going to have those because there's no social distancing in either of those events. I did talk to Barbara, and it's something that we could probably work out for salsa nights with the DJ, that maybe we have a virtual salsa night and he can play for a couple hours through the Facebook page and people can tune in and we can give the money to him that we would have given to him to perform down at City Dock.
Let's just make reference to who you're referring to, because Barbara Torian is not at the meeting. You're talking about Barbara Bernstein, who is the Dance in Time instructor who has conducted the salsa, and you're talking about DJ Simon, who is the salsa DJ. So yes, that's their names for the minutes.
Thank you.
So Genevieve, this is Krista and everybody. My question is then, what about the music fund? Brian, are you here? You're here at the meeting, right?
I'm here. I'm here.
Yeah. I'm hearing rumors that they could really use some funding. Is that correct?
Yeah, they gave away. We've broke $100,000. We've given away this year, and we've never given more than like 50 before. And we're down. We're not at this point planning to give June lost gig That's what the AMFM was started as, a lost gig fund. So we're not planning at this point until we raise some more money to pay for June dates, because our funds were getting low. But yeah, they've done a lot of good work this year, and that's why I thought it was a good idea that you guys voted to help them, because they were basically paying for the musicians that we had booked. You know, if they applied, they could get paid. But I do understand the legal kind of it's kind of on the line there.
Yeah, so we're good to still give them the $2,000 donation that we voted on. It's just not coming out of our funds being held by Parks and Rec for AIPPC. It's going to come out of the money that's being held with the Annapolis Community Foundation instead, from that balance. Okay, so why don't we try to develop some ways to book the artists that we had booked for July, and then go ahead and start a backup plan as well for our August booked events, just in case August is canceled as well. So, you know, feel free to send those via email, or if everybody's in agreement now that maybe we ask them to perform virtually, if it's possible. The large bands might be a problem because they may not all gather and they may not be performing anywhere at this time. But some of the solo acts like Dan Haas or something like that, maybe we could still have perform. But we'll put it out there. We'll see if the big piece bands are able to do it virtually or not.
Yeah, or maybe some of the artists that have been doing it virtually could team up with them. Could team up with who we have on our list. I don't know.
Yeah, well,
I'm in agreement with that. I think that's a great idea.
Okay, well, let's explore it more. We'll move on to Westgate Circle. Due to the economic downturn right now, I have been asked by the city to just put that on hold for now, and for us to try to move forward with some smaller pieces, possibly murals throughout the town. And we have some exciting news about murals too as well to move on to. So it's just in a holding pattern. It's not canceled. It's just now really is not the time to try to raise funds for an art piece, and a very inexpensive art piece, because it's supposed to be a permanent installation. So we can touch base on it again in August and see where we are financially, especially since the new budget is coming in July. So we can circle back to that.
Just to clarify, with Ashley, August is usually a time when the council and the commissions do not meet. So are we saying that this August we will be meeting as a commission?
Currently at this time, there isn't an August date on the calendar.
Okay, so we'll discuss it in July.
We can, yes, or we'll just put it for the next time to discuss. It'll remain on the agenda. So Port Laureate, we'll just move past because Barbara is not here due to a family emergency, and she'll update us at the next meeting. Cars Beach mural, the Federal House downtown on Market Street has agreed to host the Cars Beach mural. So we are currently moving forward with Art at Large, and they're working up the final production proposal and bid after we have a meeting at Federal House to decide upon size and how it's going to be installed. Then once we have all of that put together, we can meet with HPC for approval, and crossing all of our fingers, they will say yes, because it's so perfect. It's just lovely. And Federal House, Jeremy Black, the owner, is extremely excited to have it on the side wall there. So that has found a new home. Farmers Market Mural, we're still searching for a new home for that. If anybody has any ideas, feel free to share them. One Annapolis is doing some pop-up economic recovery zones. Maybe in one of these zones that they have planned for the future, maybe there's a building that we could install it on. I'm not 100% sure at the time, but it's just an idea. Anybody else got anything else?
On murals in general, or
For the farmers market mural, yeah.
oh, for farmers market, yeah. Okay.
It still needs a home. It's sitting at City Hall now, so. Okay, well, if you come up with something or you see a blank wall as you're driving down, just shoot us an email so we can look into it. That takes us down to maintenance of art walk pieces. The agreement, I have the agreement. I will send all these documents out by email so everybody can review them. David and I, along with Art at Large, are going to have a meeting and then assess all the pieces on the art walk to see which ones need to be maintenanced and which ones don't, or which ones need to be replaced, if any. And then we'll have to create a report and bring it back to the commission for approval for spending those funds. But our agreement is that we maintain them. So it's something that we need to initiate and get it started.
Just a heads up on that one. Make sure for any of the pieces that are in the historic district that I can help you reach out, but Roberta Lenore at the city should probably be looped in on that.
Yes. Okay, Maryland Hall is starting some phases of artistic participation. This is a very in-depth, long proposal. I will send this out as well. They just have introduced numerous things visually and virtually, and they are right now acquiring a new installation of art pieces to go in outside. I can't really give any more details until they fully publicly release it, but the proposal outlines various different events that Maryland Hall would like to do, and it's kind of a call to the arts community as well. So if anybody, after reading the proposal, has any suggestions to Damien or Maryland Hall, to please respond to it and send it to him so they can continue to support the local arts community and bring art to everybody during the pandemic. So summer 2020, we already basically touched on with the summer concert series. Does anybody have any other suggestions for things that we could do? The next item is virtual galleries. We can talk with Elizabeth about that a little bit more, about what her artists on hold that we're going to go into the galleries is doing. But does anybody else have any outreach ideas? Krista gave us a couple, but.
Yeah, this is Krista. I have been trying to work over here, coming up with some ideas for Ward 5, and over at Clock Tower, they're still very interested in doing some sort of an either afternoon or evening, maybe a pop-up with some artwork. They've done that before in the past, but kind of doing it a little bit more extensive with all of the shops participating. Sweetheart Patisserie was interested. Of course, Grapes, the Wine Cellars, and the Tastings Gourmet are all on board. So that sounds great. There was a comment that it might be best to wait till maybe the fall for something like that. So I think, there are still concerns, a little bit of concern with COVID and what's going to, be happening, how that's still evolving. One thing, again, I can report that they are doing, at Grapes, they are doing music live on Thursday nights, and it's been great. They're trying to mix it up and have different artists each week or every other week. And I've gone, so far, I've gone to the last two that they had, the first two that they've had, and I've been really enjoying those. And I think that if we could try to encourage that with some of the other shopping centers and areas too, I think that would be great as well. It's a way to get some of the music out there. And then Elizabeth, I don't know if you want to chime in at all with anything you might be able to contribute, but if we could coordinate using either the Alliance or some of the pop-up groups and artists in the area, I think that might be a way to get some art to the wards at this time of COVID.
You want me to chime in about an artist group or?
No, whether or not you've done that in the past and if you think that artists would be willing to do that.
I'm sorry, go into the neighborhoods? I'm sorry, what is it you want the artists to do? I'm sorry.
No,
I'm trying to bring up the.
So you know where the Clock Tower Plaza is, right?
Oh yeah.
Where the wine cellar is and Grapes. So in the past, they've had artists there displaying their art, and I believe it was through the Alliance.
Yes, you're right. I'm sorry. Yes.
Right. So the idea would be to have a day that's designated where the artists would bring their art and put it sort of like a little sidewalk. I think years ago they used to call them sidewalk sales, right? And so the artists would be around. There'd also be music happening as well. And then also the stores would be offering their goods as well. And so far, Sweetheart Patisserie, the Grapes, the wine cellars, and the Tastings Gourmet have expressed interest in that. And Grapes and wine cellars were thinking it might be good to do in the fall. So my suggestion would be for all of us as commissioners to think about places within our wards where we could do something similar like that, and maybe sort of have like a little seasonal rotation kind of thing throughout the year.
So if you want the Alliance to show up, I have to, like, you and I can talk later, Krista, like figure out how to get it out to our members. Like, we had to figure out the plan and then put someone in charge of it, and then sort of execute it with our members and stuff.
Right.
So,
right.
Chris, I can talk to you about that later.
Okay.
If you want the Alliance to be involved in that.
Yeah, I think unfortunately anything around here is what we tried earlier.
That was just an example of, a group that had done it in the past. Mm-hmm. So, I'm open for suggestions from all of you as to how to make it, open to our artists in the city.
But it could be something that we collaborate with One Annapolis for their pop-up recoveries, because that's what they were doing, is featuring local artists to come and sell
that sounds great.
Genevieve, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, cool. I'm just curious, with the influx of cases, have there been any guidance in terms of keeping stuff open or moving to phase 2 or 3? Because I know people are starting to freak out with the, and I don't want to, I mean, it'd be great to do some stuff, outside or, where we can social distance, but I'm also concerned about folks' ability to want to go outside and be around other folks in light of all the,
Yeah, the pop-up recovery zones were, of course, under, regulations. Everybody wears a mask and social distance and all that stuff. So they were staying within the regulations of the state and county health departments. There hasn't been any rollback. I know ICU cases are not increasing, but hospital cases are increasing. So I don't know. I mean, that's all on the governor and the county exec, because the city doesn't have their own health department. So they just follow their regulations. But that is why for the city doc that I didn't feel comfortable continuing forward, is encouraging group gathering and I don't, who would be in charge of regulating that? Like, do we have to hire APD to come down? What, do we have to be there? Do we have Office of Emergency Management there? Like, there's, how can you regulate mask wearing?
And social distancing at that.
And yes, so.
Yeah, it's too much policing.
Then if it's too hard at this time to do this, this is something that can be tabled, for next year. Seriously.
Yeah, I think the month by month is really the best way to go right now, and for us to make decisions. I don't get me wrong. I want to have music again down at City Dock, and I want to have gallery openings, but I think we just need to remain smart and safe and keep everybody healthy. So.
Mm-hmm.
I agree.
It should be interesting with First Sunday happening this Sunday.
Yeah.
Going on?
Yeah, they actually just started them back up again. So this Sunday's the first one.
Yeah, I got a notice and
Yikes.
talked to my mother, and she was like, "Nope, that's okay.
Yeah,
we'll wait till
passed.
September."
Hard pass on that one.
Yeah.
So okay, well,
That's weird too, because the tents have to be 6 feet apart, so there's social distancing the tents.
Yeah.
But how do you regulate how many people are coming down? I was surprised they decided to do that.
Yeah, I mean, and how many people fit in a tent? Like 2? Like, what's the like
10 by 10. You got a 10 by 10 tent, so you got you want on one
100
and
feet.
Yeah, but I mean, it's just the people walking in between the tents. It's like everybody's gonna be rushing up against each other. So again,
I was surprised too.
Yeah, okay.
It should be interesting to see.
That's one reason I haven't opened 49 West sooner, because first of all, I'm redoing stuff in there, but I just don't know what's going on. I actually am in New Jersey right at the moment, and the governor just made an announcement here. They were going to reopen restaurants next week here, and they just postponed it.
Yeah.
Right. This is Krista. I've had quite a few people share with me that they have still a lot of concerns about heading downtown to downtown Annapolis, because there's still not enough people wearing masks. And, that is a concern for a lot of people.
I'm not disagreeing with that. Okay. I just wanted to mention that, Elizabeth, are we going to do anything for virtual galleries? Were you able to reach out to the artists that were scheduled? Is there something that they want to do?
Well, first I asked, because with Pip Moyer being open, Jen Sterling has reached out to me, like, do we want her to pull her artwork, or she has a show, or she has something in August, so she'd have to.
Yeah, she
could be there in July, and she needs to pull it by the end of July. Do we want her to leave it, or do we want her to pull her work?
I would leave that up to her.
If she needs something else, needs it. I mean,
she doesn't need it until the end of July.
Okay. And who was supposed to be in there currently?
Moyer. Dale Hall.
Okay.
She's a photographer. She's gonna wait till next year, like same time next year.
Okay.
And then after her was Luke Thompson, which was Richie's guy. He has not contacted me at all about anything.
Yeah. Okay.
And then in September, October was the Annapolis firefighters.
Okay.
So for Pip, and then for downtown, for the city hall, let's see, Audrey Lee was coming in. She's a painter. And then Paul Gillespie with the Journalist Matter.
Okay. We don't have currently anything in City Hall, correct?
No, we don't. We pulled the kids, the PVA studio, and then but Paul did mention I saw him on Instagram, and he did mention that he's like, I'm hoping to go to City Hall with this in September. I was like, I'm hoping you can too.
I know. So Ashley, is City still closed to the public? Brian, Ashley?
It was before I left, but I think may have changed.
Yeah, sorry about that. I was mid bedtime over here.
That's okay. Sorry.
As far as I know, and my understanding is that it's currently closed to the public, and the plan is for the next month or so, give or take. They're not planning to open it to the public anytime soon.
Okay. Okay. I thought it was through July something. So
I think, I don't know anything definite yet, but everything I've heard sort of through my boss is that they're rethinking that, and they're not sure when they're going to reopen.
okay. So yeah, so even hanging, you know, at City Hall wouldn't
Right.
allow the public to have access to it. So
I mean, I can ask Audrey. She was gonna, she was supposed to hang in July to August. So I can ask her if she has enough online that we can push her online, you know, virtual.
yeah.
Some of these artists, like, this is their first show. So
Yeah.
they don't
like
have a
Luke
lot.
and
They haven't
stuff, yeah.
photographed a lot yet.
Okay.
But I'll ask her if what she wants to do. If she wants to, yeah, push it.
Okay.
I think she's thinking. I think they're all sort of like, except for Paul Gillespie, they're all thinking next year, the same time next year, kind of thing.
Okay. So because PIP is open, you know, we can probably start rotating them through PIP.
Okay. Well, I'll ask Dale. I mean, she originally said she would like the same time next year.
Okay.
But I can ask her, because Luke Thompson, he was a brand new artist. Like, he hasn't. I needed to
Yeah.
print and frame his work. I haven't seen him at all.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
but I'll reach out to him again and say that we're starting to rehang. I was over at PIP the other day because I had to give Archie back his that uniform that he wanted me to
Yes,
frame.
yeah.
He wants a 3/4 round plexiglass case, and you know, the city's paying for it. That's a lot of money. So I'm like, you know what? Or that's the city's paying for it. He's paying for it. Excuse
Right.
me. So I was like, here you go. You can have it back. So I was over there the other day, and they, you know, wanted to take my temperature, and I said, can I just hand this off? I don't need to actually go in. So.
Okay.
But-
And then if those scheduled for PIP don't, they still want to wait till next year, then maybe we can rotate who's scheduled at City Hall into PIP. If you're
I'll reach out to
comfortable
all
with
of them. I was waiting for this meeting to
Yep.
sort of figure out what we're doing. Okay, I'll reach out to everybody.
You know,
Okay.
one thing to consider for the board is, you know, for instance, the art reception itself is usually when an artist would sell probably 80 or 90% of the stuff,
Right.
if not 100%. And we're probably not going to be having those. And there's probably a fraction of the people going through PIP. So if somebody does hang, you might consider letting them stay up for 2 or 3 months rather than 1 or 2 months or whatever. I forget, Elizabeth, how often you book.
Yeah, 2 months. We do 2 months.
I would just either leave them up for a long time,
Mm-hmm.
or just something to consider, because otherwise
Absolutely.
it's kind of unfair to the artist to do all that work and only a fraction of the people see it, and nobody gets to participate and purchase at the reception.
Okay.
Yeah, and we can also promote them virtually online as well. So, you know,
Okay.
and, you know, possibly looking at developing an online auction for them maybe, or some, you know, there's things that we can discuss about that going
You know,
forward.
Catherine is at the gallery next to 49 West, has
Yes,
been shockingly successful at these
Yes.
auctions. I
Yes.
was actually shocked.
yeah. Yeah, she listed it and I went to go look at pieces and most of them were gone already. And I was like, that's amazing, which is fabulous. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's Annapolis Gallery, by the way. So,
Mhm.
okay. Number 10 is just, we still have a vacancy for Ward 8 Commissioner. And if anybody knows somebody in Ward 8 that happens to be a grant writer, encourage them to send Hillary their resume so we can fill that position. Or if there's anybody listening or watching that would like to apply from Ward 8, Hillary Rafovich, the city ombudsman, is the one to send your resume to. And I can post that on our Facebook page as well if somebody needs the email address. So,
Some people might be worth asking, of course, the Alderman Ross Arnett, but Bumper Moyer, who also attends our meeting but isn't on the board, and Diane Butler, some other people I'm thinking of, Jessica Patcher, even though I'm not sure she's Ward 8 or not. She
Yeah.
might be.
Bumper might be a bit of a conflict of interest, but.
Well, I'm just saying to ask them for neighbors or friends or people.
Oh, yes. Yeah, get the word out. Yes, everybody, please do.
Maybe Ross could put it in his newsletter.
Yeah, I'll shoot Ross an email and see if he can put out a call and see if we can fill that position. So we have a full commission. That'd be amazing. And
I have a question for Ashley. Is it a requirement that people are residents of Annapolis for 12 months before they come on a commission?
I know there's some amount of time, but I don't know how many months.
Sorry, can you repeat that?
Is it a requirement, a residency requirement that you live within the city in the ward for 12 months prior to being appointed on a commission?
I don't believe so. I'd have to double check. Each commission is specific, has its own specific rules, but let me double check.
Thanks.
okay, Brian, what's the status on recouping our chickens? Can we schedule a date to pick them up and take them over to the PVA facility over at Bates?
Is that where we're going to take them, or are we going to take them to the Children's Museum? Was requesting them too.
Well, yeah, Debbie wants them, but however, with the pandemic and funds and everything, I give them to the students first so they can rehabilitate them, and then we can find new homes for them. So because we're removing the ones that are broken.
I know no students though, so does it matter that we get it over there?
Well, considering that we're already in July and school's gonna be back, technically in a couple months, they will receive the chickens, and then they'll work on doing a program with rehabilitating them and fixing them and then finding new homes for them. And some of them can go over to Debbie after that.
Okay.
Brian froze on us. I lost him. We lost Brian.
I have your answer. So residency in the city is only required at the time of appointment. And then for your term on the commission, you just have to continue to stay within Anne Arundel County.
Thank you, Ashley. Okay, well, when Brian comes back, we can ask him. I also put in a request to have the wooden structures at the Children's Museum removed due to the deterioration and the condition of them. So he'll have to give me an update. There he is.
I'm sorry about that, you guys. I'm on the hotel Wi-Fi and I think it froze.
It did. You froze on us.
So
go ahead.
I've been gone, but next week I could maybe I could get Gavin's pickup and we could pick them up one at a time. They're not. It takes 2 or 3 people.
Yeah. Chris can help too.
If we want to schedule it next week, that would be great. I will get his truck and I'll help, but I need help.
Okay. So I will contact the PVA directors and ask them at a time that they can receive them, and then we'll work with that.
I'll be glad to do it any day next week.
Okay.
You might not want to do it even all in one day. Did we ever figure out where all the chickens are that need to get moved, or how many?
So
Talked about that at our last meeting, I think.
Yeah, I think there's only 2 or 3 on West Street that the business owners do not want in front, and it's mainly the ones that need to be repaired. So I can send the list out. And then where are we with the wooden structures at the Children's Museum, Brian? You're on mute. I can't hear you.
Brian, you're on mute.
Thank you. So those need removing?
Yes.
All right. I'll get Public Works to go pick them up. How many are there?
I believe there's 3. There's the alligator or crocodile, the beaver, which is the one that still looks somewhat like, and then there was a bird, I think an eagle. I will send that to you. I'll double check.
Can they just go to the dump? I mean, they're done.
Yeah, they're done. They're wooden sculptures that are just deteriorating, and then we also need to have them to have the ability to pull out the metal posts that are holding them into the ground, so they're not a hazard to the kids.
Okay. I'll find out if that's Public Works or that's what I think it is. I don't think it's considered a park, but it might be Parks and Rec too. But I think it's going to be Public Works.
Okay.
I'm writing that down.
Thank you, sir. All right. We're going to move to new business. We actually are not going to hold a vote on reappropriating funds. It's just a discussion as to how we want to spend the money that Annapolis Community Foundation has been holding for us. And I will send this balance sheet out to everybody as well. Just trying to find it real quick. That we are currently at $7,079.91 is what they're holding for us. So due to our city code, the $2,000 that we agreed to pay AMFM will come from those funds from ACF instead of directly out of the AIPPC city account being held by Parks and Rec.
How much is the total again? I'm sorry, I missed that.
What was the question?
What was the total again?
Oh,
We have
$7,079.91.
7079. Okay.
So there is ACF is also currently accepting donations for the Carlester murals. That is a possibility that we could just transfer some money over from our account to the Carlester mural funds. If anybody else has any other suggestions, we may, depending on what Art at Large comes in for the final production for the Cars Beach mural, we could use part of that money for that as well, towards that. However, that's within the code too, so we could use our regular AIPPC funds too. If anybody has any suggestions.
Hey, Jenna, this is David. Just I guess the question is, I mean, so what distinguishes what we can and can't give money to from, it's like we have to kind of use a third party to give money from this fund. Is there a certain, I don't know, criteria that has to be met or?
For the ACF funds, no. For the AIPPC funds at this time, yes, because for the AMFM donation, we're not procuring art, and they're not actually performing. We are just trying to reimburse people lost gig money. So that's the only reason that we're going that avenue.
So that's $7,000. If we want to give that to someone, a group or something, we have to go through that. And they have to be, as long as they're not if they're not performing, then we can give money through the ACF. If they're performing, then we can give money through AIPPC.
Yeah, if it's like a grant or a donation, that's the best to use the ACF funds.
Got it. Okay. All right. Just food for thought in terms of how help the thinking process in terms of where to. The criteria. Okay. Thanks.
Yep.
Excuse me, but some of that balance may be grant money. I think that needs to be clarified. It could be from April Nyman with the Arts Council of Anne Arundel County. Some of that may be a mini grant. Also, what is the balance in our city Office of Finance account?
Well, the new budget's coming in July, and we have spent nothing from our current balance with the city, and that. So it's.
So, do you know that balance?
Yeah, I can pull it up here. It's the same as it was at the last meeting. Also, in reference to your question about the ACF funds, everything has been cleared, and I have it in an email.
Mini grants.
Yep, everything, we are clear to use that money as needed.
Genevieve, this is Krista. It's my understanding that Kevin Lebling is kind of heading up some of the logistics for the Carl Lester mural, and I've been in touch also with Jessica, who's been behind the scenes working on that project. I was a little involved in that in the beginning, very beginning of it, when they were talking about it in the initial stages. I do think that it would be great if we could put some money towards it. I don't know to what extent at this point they need the money the most for, if that would be to facilitate some sort of recognition event, or if it is for supplies. I just don't know. Is anybody current on that, or has anyone heard anything from Jessica or Kevin on that?
So I talked to Kevin, and currently the Commissel mural is paid for, and they are working on possibly having 2 additional murals in town. Jeff Huntington is looking to do a second mural, and then Kevin said they're discussing it at this point. It's nothing official, but that they thought it might be nice to open up for a 3rd mural, to have AIPPC have a call to local artists, and we kind of have a competition in order to pick an artist for the 3rd mural. But that's
I know they're very interested in having our support on the project, but I do believe it was self-funded. They picked most of their locations on their own and everything too. So I just want to, for the record, just say that I'm highly supportive of everything that they're doing with that. And whatever we can do going forward, just let me know how I can help.
Thank you. Yeah, and thanks for being a liaison. You sent Jessica and Kevin to me, so that was great. And then I sent them to Mr. Gormley as a lawyer to talk to about having letters of understanding with Pinkies and any other place that they put up the murals going forward. So he's assisting them, which has been good because they had numerous questions. And since it's not on city property, we're not going to use city legal for that. So they needed somebody to help them through that.
I talked to Kevin just yesterday, and he was just so excited about how much money that they've raised.
Yeah.
So they might not need, we might be able to it would be great to support them, but we might not need to financially.
Yeah.
We might be able to use that money to help pay for the Umbrella Sky on Maryland Avenue, or something to help our businesses downtown through art. And it might have more of an impact, this board, that way, since the other is self-funded so greatly.
Right. Yeah. It's
to help promote the project that they're doing. There's also talk about possibly doing a walk, like a Carl Lester walk type event.
The cleanup.
So
the West Street cleanup.
Right. Whatever we can do to support them, I think that's great. And I feel real good about that project. They've done an amazing job.
I agree. Okay. The Truxton Heights mural. So Laura Brino is heading that up through Maryland Hall and with her children, and they had some concepts, but they weren't finished yet. So they weren't submitted before this meeting. As soon as I get them, I will share them with all of you. But that should be a really amazing project. And if everybody doesn't know where it's at the corner of Spa and Silopana. As you enter into Truxton Heights on your way to the Children's Museum, there's a retaining wall that is city property. So we will have to approve it. And there has been no request for funds or anything at this time. So she'll submit the proposal once they have all the concepts done.
And then that community association is going to pick and choose, or are we picking and choosing?
Well, she's letting the children design it. So whatever agreement she has with Truxton Heights, I'm not really, the association, I'm not really sure at this point. And I haven't seen anything submitted yet, but she said that they are working on it. And then I'm sad to say that the mural for Larkin Street is a no. And the owner of the wall has refused the mural. He thanked us for our time, but he's not interested. So
He saw the one Jeff did, the model.
yes, and I also sent him one, a concept from Hool as well, and he's just not interested in putting a mural there.
Did you CC me on those communications?
I will.
Okay, I'm sorry, I'm just so behind because I've been out this week.
It's all fine.
I just saw right before I left, I saw Carol Henson, who owns the building on West Street right next to 7-Eleven, and he said he's close with Ron Nadich and that he could help be a liaison. But if you've already got a no, I mean, I don't know if I.
It was a pretty hard no,
Friday
wasn't it, David?
What was that?
It was a pretty hard no.
It was a straight up no. I am not interested. Thank you.
Yeah.
Really? He likes the moldy, mossy wall, huh?
It's okay. It has a flair to it.
Certain Vanessa Qua.
Yes,
Yeah,
very.
there you go.
Yes, Trey.
A la mode.
Yes.
That just means there's another place that's waiting for a mural.
Exactly. So yeah, so I thought I would take the concepts that we have and put them on our Facebook page and ask if anybody has a wall that they think that they would look lovely upon. And we'll see, you know, if somebody has some good suggestions, and then we can go from there.
Love that idea. Thank you, Genevieve.
You're welcome. David, you want to talk about Kirsten Elsner's storytelling workshop proposal that she sent us?
Sure, be happy to. So yes, we received the proposal for Kristen with Vision Works. It's called Community Connections. Essentially what it is, it's pairing, they're trying to find at least 20 participants ages 6 through 12 and pair them with members of the police department, in which case they would share their stories. So obviously the police would share their stories, what it's like to be a policeman. The children would share their stories, what it's like to grow up in this day and age. And I think it's extremely topical in light of all the events that have happened over the last 3 or 4 weeks to kind of get that sort of that cooperation between the community and the police together. They would use photography and storytelling to promote this. So they would, the kids would take a camera and take pictures of the policemen. I guess the policemen would take pictures of the kids, write stories about each other, and then eventually they take these stories and these photographies, these photos, and exhibit them. And I'm going to share a screen here in a second. I'm going to, if I can do that, make it happen. Boom. Hopefully get the right screen. Yeah, see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so this, if you look to the right over here, this is sort of a wall that they put up. Let me see if I can get that moving to the next one. Yes, this is like one of the images that are captured by the by some of the kids. This lady, Kirsten, has done this a couple times. Some stuff with the National Geographic. There's actually I can send the proposal to you. There are a couple of links to a movie, a little short movie she did, or someone did about her, and some of the images that I'm showing you now. Essentially, some of the things that the kids have done. So the idea would be to get these photographs and these stories and present them in some sort of public exhibit somewhere. She didn't get into details as to where yet or how. They ideally want to start this process late July, early August. I guess that all depends on school and COVID and a host of other things. So I haven't reached out to you yet, but I'm going to reach out to her at the end of the week and kind of get some more details. They are trying to they have a budget of about $32,000. That covers the staff and the exhibits and I guess doing this sort of thing. Also the purchase of the cameras. So they would actually, use these cameras again for kids who want to come back and discover a love for photography. They'd be able to use these cameras and rent them out or lease them out or whatever, and kind of go out and do more photography. So it seems like a really cool idea. As a photographer, I think it's an awesome idea. And again, with all the interesting things going on in our society over the last 3 or 4 weeks. I think it's sort of a step in the right direction to kind of get that integration between the community and the police. Because obviously, if the kids get involved, then maybe the parents will get involved, the police will get involved, and community get involved, and it sort of kind of can kind of ease some tensions that obviously been going on as a result of all the other stuff that's going on. So like I said, I'll reach out to Kirsten this week and kind of get some more details and just kind of keep you guys posted in terms of that might be again something I guess we could use some money for in terms of supporting this endeavor and see where she is and her fundraising efforts. Yeah, that's basically it.
That sounds great. Thank you.
Yeah, it's
Love
actually
that
pretty
project.
That's a really cool idea. I've seen a whole bunch of these kind of community-based projects, and especially for the kids becoming photographers, it can get pretty transformative. So,
and even the writing skills as well. I mean, I think writing is becoming a dead art because with the internet and the whole bit. And I think it's being able to write a story to illustrate, to have photos to illustrate your story. I think that's an awesome combination for kids to do. Hell, I want to do this.
Yeah, I was gonna say, sign me up, Dave.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we'll talk to Kirsten and maybe she'll let us, join in. We'll be big kids or something like that.
Yeah, I love it.
All right. So I'll send this proposal to you guys, and there's some links at the second page with this video. It talks about her work she did with other kids coming from I think one of the girls was what was the hurricane in Puerto Rico. She did some stuff with that. Other girls from Bolivia who has a story to share, and it's actually pretty cool stuff. So I'll send this to everybody and check out these links. They're pretty cool.
Thank you, David.
That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Dave. Did anybody hear? I had heard a couple weeks ago rumor that the county police department was going to do a Black Lives Matter mural on the side of the police department. Has anybody heard anything about that?
That is news.
I haven't seen anything. I haven't heard anything either. That would be amazing. Okay. Speaking of Black Lives Matter murals, does anybody have any suggestions? Does anybody feel that one of the murals that we're looking to put in should be centered around a call for artists to do a Black Lives murals? Where would we put it? It's open for discussion.
We're running out of wall space, man.
We are, but I had suggested like some crosswalk painting. We can do.
That'd be cool.
Yeah. There was an amazing new crosswalk and street painting that went in for Pride in DC. We could do something similar, or down one of our alleys, or anybody have any thoughts?
From a crosswalk perspective, I mean, obviously any, where I am is you got, Eastport Terrace and, Robinwood and all those kind of places. So, if you're going to do this on the street, there's, there's more street than there is, buildings. So
exactly.
I think pick a street,
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah.
I mean, just,
Has anybody, this is Krista, has anybody come forward to ask or inquire about that? Is that something we could use our Facebook page for, to reach out, to do something?
Yeah, we could make a post if everybody wanted to do that and see if there's suggestions, or if within the commission, like David, just said, I think up and down Forest would be a great place at some of the crosswalks in Bay Ridge area to possibly research if we could do some painted crosswalks over there.
Yeah.
I feel like the format of that is emerging as a pretty consistent thing kind of across the Black Lives Matter movement. So I feel like the crosswalk option is it's kind of interesting to me because of the ways you can place it and places that are unusual, because murals are great, but murals are somewhat more predictable. And I like the slight unpredictability of what's been happening with the crosswalk stuff.
Yeah.
The crosswalks are going to need conservation on them though, because they don't last long. So
Yeah,
that's
you have to use
something,
proper
and not
paint.
that that's a bad thing. I mean, you know, they can change and shift and that sort of thing. I know there was the crosswalk that we did on at the Westgate Circle there. That was done. I'm just like, my mind is going here trying to think of people who might be interested in doing one, or you know, where and that sort of thing. But
Yeah.
I like this suggestion.
Yeah.
Well, throw it all together in an email if you have any thoughts or recommendations, and if you want to reach out to your councilman or woman and see if they have suggestions as well, and get them in on the conversation and see where we could put more art, especially in the crosswalks. We're right now, you know, we're promoting
Okay, cool.
access and transportation and walking, and you know, those get used a lot, the crosswalks do, so beautifying them.
Definitely. Genevieve, I'm gonna have to bounce. I got a work call. I'm sorry. I have
Okay.
to, so
Okay.
thanks everybody.
Bye, Dave.
Have a great day, everybody.
Thanks, David.
See ya.
You too. Bye, Dave. My,
You know-
my question is, do we have any, not really survey, but do we have any suggestions as to what maybe the top 3 or the top 5 used crosswalks, or the ones that have, sad to say, the ones that have maybe the most accidents around them? I do know that when you do the art in the crosswalks, it helps to bring attention to that crosswalk, and from what I remember in a study that they did, it can reduce the you know, traffic accidents and that sort of thing.
You can find that study. I'd love to see it, because generally the state highway administration and county do not want paintings on any roadways.
Yeah.
Now, of course, it's being done everywhere and the city can allow it, but the opposite has been told to me, that they're afraid that the art will distract drivers and more accidents will happen.
No, I don't. I'll look around, Brian, because I seem to recall when we were doing some investigation to that, and we had people come and present. This was a couple of years ago now. That was one of the pluses of it. So let me see what I can do. I'll dig into that.
You can find it, that
Yeah.
would be great, and it will be limited to some extent, like to city streets versus
Yeah.
a state road.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
We can't put it on a state road. They won't, or county, they won't maintenance it, and they won't, and that even means like, you know, for like snow plowing and stuff, if we touch their street.
Okay.
And yeah, it causes issues.
Right.
But Eric Evans
Gotcha.
is another one to talk to, because he did a whole research on doing the painted crosswalks and street art, and I think he just got a grant for doing some more crosswalks as well. So he's done some extensive research into that. So if you want to shoot him an email, he'll tell you all about the stuff that he knows, because he was sharing some of the information with me. So we would have to make sure that it is on a city street if we're going to paint a crosswalk.
Jen,
Yeah, they've done it with Baltimore. The latest one in Baltimore is really cool.
Yeah.
And of course, you know, some of the cities have done some really major ones. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
something to consider, you guys, that the new garage and city dock, we as a board should keep an eye on that and make sure that there's either space or public art included in these new projects.
Yeah. Once you guys have like, you know, some final plans and stuff and want to loop us in on what's needed, definitely do that, and we can talk about it as a commission, what to put in there. Okay. The Mask for Annapolis campaign, how's that going, Brian?
I've been gone this last week.
Okay, you don't know either.
I'm behind on that.
Okay.
Ashley may know something if she's still around.
Yeah, you can go to the Hilton Gardens website, or you can find the link on our Facebook page as well. They were asking for locals to create and donate masks for local Annapolitans who couldn't afford masks or couldn't obtain masks. And they were having quite a few donations. They got some really large donations in of masks, which was amazing. So originally, Carissa had talked about doing a mask campaign, and then the Masks for Annapolis campaign came out. So if anybody wants to assist with that, yeah. So if anybody wants to assist or provide, yeah, it's all good.
Happy to see that. It started on the Eastport, our local Eastport page, where people were real concerned about the masks and going, this is when we first opened up, and going downtown. And again, people were hesitating to be out and go out. And so Genevieve and I talked behind the scenes. Some of the people that are kind of close to connections in the city, I think, got involved. And my idea initially was to see if there were any artists that wanted to come forward, or any musicians or any writers, or, you know, anybody who wanted to come forward and sort of create some sort of mask that promoted their work or used their material. I think what did end up happening from what within that week or so, a lot of things sprouted because of some of these discussions and the passion towards this, which is just fantastic. And of course, Gavin went I think that very next day or that weekend, he went out and was actually hand delivering them out to people as they were coming to visit. And, you know, my point was basically that, you know, we are such a focal point for Maryland, and our governor had been doing such a great job in getting us opening. And there were just so many efforts behind the scenes that were going on. And then to hear that once we did open, not everybody was able to get a mask or couldn't find one or what have you. And so I was, you know, just really touched to see how many people did come together to try to work on this effort. And, you know, kudos to Gavin for, you know, going right out there, and the staff that he was with, the city staff that was there to help, and the volunteers. But again, you know, I think it would be kind of cool if artists were interested in using their artwork and putting it on canvas or material, and then creating some masks, and then seeing if any of the stores would be interested in, you know, helping to sell them. And not that anyone would make a lot of money out of it, but, you know, that was just the idea.
Krista, did you see the thing with Good Charlotte and the mayor talking about the whole mask in this program with the hotel and the competition?
No, I did not.
Okay.
I did not. Mm-mm.
So the link is on our AIPPC Facebook page, but I'll send it to you as well, Carissa. There is a full movement of actually, you know, doing donations like you were thinking to do, and hand out masks to the general public. Also, Jen Sterling, she did create masks off of her artwork. Yeah, and she sells them. So there are some local artists that are doing it. I know at the pop-up shop over in the town center, she sells masks too, that are by local artists that make them, that sew them, create them. So there are some options to support local artists through masks as well. Yeah.
And also, I think if we could keep supporting that as well on our pages, you know, anytime an artist does create the masks and puts, you know, does the effort to do that, I think it would be great to promote it. And I did see that you were promoting that, Genevieve, so thank you so much for that. I did see some coverage of, you know, Gavin passing them out, but I did not see the one you mentioned, Brian. So I'll give that a look.
Elizabeth?
Actually, yeah, Liz Karen actually emailed the mayor and the county hospital and stuff. She is doing just as you're talking about, making her art and putting masks on them. They're animals. We're printing them and mounting them for people. They're really economical. I mean, I thought I shared it on my Facebook, but I'll send it over. She has like a little, like, she does mostly on Instagram. She doesn't do a lot of Facebook stuff. But I know she emailed the mayor a couple times with her little poster that she kind of made. There's like 28 pictures of the different animals that have, you know, a mask on this. It says, like, I have them in my shop here. like wear masks, keep people safe, or something like. So there's some like logo slogan. But she's doing just that. I mean, and maybe that's where the mayor got it from, because she did email him a couple times about it.
Well, I
so.
put it out on I put it out on like I said, the local city page, and one of the reasons how I got inspired is because one of my local neighbors, she rallied a group of, I don't know how many there were, I want to say somewhere between 15 and 20 people that were starting to come together to actually make the masks. And from the very beginning, when the hospitals didn't have enough masks, people started kind of coming together to do it. And they were literally committing to hundreds of masks to go to the hospital at a time and to go to the nursing homes. So they, this little group of people that sewed were actively working on it. And so my idea, when I saw what happened down in Annapolis and people didn't have enough masks on, was, could we create some sort of a campaign to promote Annapolis, promote our artists, maybe maps of the city, or anything that, something maritime, or our flag, or our Maryland flag, or just anything to promote our city. And because we were doing all the right things, and so I'm just delighted to hear that so much of this kind of spun off. That's wonderful. So.
Okay, well, we already discussed the one Annapolis pop-ups. So if anybody has anything for open discussion, and before I did want to answer Cynthia's question that after we pay Creating Communities the $2,000 donation that we voted on to pay them, we'll have around $26,000 in our AIPPC current fund that will roll over after the new fiscal year starts.
And how much were we allocated for 2021?
For our budget, that was in the proposal that was sent out at the end of the year, and I can forward that out to you as well. And it should be posted on the AIPPC page.
Oh, so you don't know for sure how much we were allocated?
I don't have it in front of me.
I think it's the same as last year, 40, right?
Yeah, I believe so. I don't know what the
okay, and I do think we need to clarify. There's an outstanding mini grant that came from either the Maryland Council of the Arts, Maryland State Council of the Arts. It's $2,000 mini grant. It was for Anne Marie Essen, and it was for phase 2 of the mosaic wall. It was a matching grant. So that is an outstanding grant. It may need to be returned because it was never matched.
Well, I believe that deposit is reflected in the balance sheet, in that it was made.
I believe it's in the Office of Finance.
Yes, yeah, I saw it on the printout. So,
right. So that probably needs to either be returned to April Nyman or the Maryland Maryland State Arts Council.
Yeah, because they were saying that knee wall might be actually removed in the process.
Right. So the phase 2 was put on hold,
yeah.
And so we need to probably return that mini grant.
Okay, Ashley, we'll need to find the information on there if you can find it on that grant, and I'll send the deposit information that I saw. And if we, are you on your back porch?
To me.
Are you on your back porch, Ashley?
I'll see if I can figure out where it is. I think I have some records related to it. Oh, I'm not. But yeah, send it over. I will try and figure it out.
Okay. Thanks, lady.
Ashley, question. Do you have all of the grant applications that were submitted in 2018, 2017, 2016? Do you have copies of those grant applications?
I do not. Finance department might have them. They generally keep the grant applications.
Okay,
I can ask, but no, my office doesn't tend to keep the grant application documents.
Right. Right, because there is some question about these outstanding grants. And I think if we pull up the original grant applications and sort out, exactly how many mini grants we got.
Okay, yeah, I will check into it with the finance director and her staff.
Right, because I do believe they have to go from one nonprofit to another nonprofit. Otherwise, there's some tax responsibility. So that's why I say I think that 2,000 mini grant has to be returned.
Cynthia, are you talking about the funds that have come into Annapolis Community Foundation?
No, I'm talking about all of the, when you lived in Nashville, we put out quite a few grant applications. The mosaic wall, that was mainly funded with grant money from the Maryland State Arts Council and April Nyman. So
Where
I
did
do believe
that money go, though? It couldn't have gone to the city because they're not a nonprofit. So it must have went to ACF.
Well, okay, there is one mini grant in the Office of Finance. That's the one I'm talking about that needs to be returned.
Okay.
So it's something to just get sorted out and to go back and get all those old grant applications, so to clarify it.
Okay, so are you, prior to you being chair, these were mini grants that were applied for?
Well, when you lived in Nashville, we applied for a lot of mini grants. And that goes way back to, way back when. But they should have that paperwork in the Office of Finance or in Parks and Rec.
Okay. Well, Ashley will ask finance and we'll see if we can find the paperwork.
Ashley, if you can't find that, either Genevieve or I will ask Parks and Recs and try to find out that information, because Cynthia's right. We need to get that straightened out.
I am going to send out an email right now before I forget, and I'll copy the world on it, see if anyone pops up with any information.
Awesome. Thank you.
Right. Well, there are tax implications here, so we have to make sure we handle the mini grants properly.
Exactly. Okay, any other open discussion?
I would just like to thank Julian for hosting our meeting tonight.
Yes. Thanks, Julian. You're the best.
So it's great to have you, and I look forward to meeting you in person.
Yeah, I hope for all of us that's before too long.
And Joe is the best, by the way.
Oh, not better than you, Julian.
Julian was raving about you before everybody joined, so. Yeah,
Aw, shush.
So I'm just hoping that you have some expertise with grant writing, because that would really be very, very handy if you do.
Vaguely through the college is all I can commit to.
Okay.
Anyone else?
Are we making announcements at all?
Go for it.
So the Annapolis Arts Alliance is opening a gallery 2 doors down from 49 West. It's where the Whitehall Gallery was.
Yes.
So we're planning to open August
Great.
1st.
Yeah.
August 1st, Saturday.
Wonderful.
So,
Right next to the office. I'm excited.
yeah, I know.
Welcome to West.
Is that permanent?
Thank you. Yes, it's permanent. It's a year-long gallery.
Great, great, great.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Yes,
West
that's
Street.
wonderful.
It'll be nice to see a gallery actually working as a gallery. For the 25 years I've been at 49 West, I've hardly seen any activity at Whitehall. So I don't know how they paid their rent.
Yeah, well, I know. We lifted the rug and when the floor went down this morning.
Awesome.
So it's real. I mean, wow,
That's
we are.
exciting.
Yeah, our build out. The landlord has been very nice to us. He's done thousands of dollars of improvements. So
Awesome.
Congratulations.
yeah, thank you.
That's awesome.
All right, everybody. I'm going to jump if that's it, unless you need me for anything else.
All right. Do I have a
Safe
motion
travels,
to
Brian.
adjourn?
I'll make a motion to adjourn. This is Krista.
Yay.
Thank you, Krissa. Do I have a second?
Yeah, I'll second it.
I'll second.
Thanks, Elizabeth.
Night, everybody. Thanks.
Good night, everyone.
Safe trip
Bye,
home.
Brian.